Hello. Happy Friday. I see someone commented that. I'm so excited to be back with you guys after our little Thanksgiving break. Let me just make sure that everyone can see me and hear me okay. Let's just see. Okay, there. Now I think that everyone can see and hear okay. Um, I'm really excited for today. I'm excited because we are covering a few things today. So, we are going to be covering supplemental essays. We are also going to be doing our Giving Tuesday giveaway. We're announcing that winner for Giving Tuesday. So, thank you to all of you who have been posting on social media, tagging your friends, sharing the personal statement course on your stories and your feed. I am really excited about that. But for those of you who are new, my name is Sydney Montgomery. I am the CEO of Montgomery Admissions Consulting, and I specialize in working with first generation and minority law school applicants. And today we are covering supplemental essays. Specifically, today we are talking about the Yale 250 and the Georgetown optional statements. So, what even is the Yale 250? Why does it exist? What are you supposed to do with it? It's so open-ended. How does anyone even go about addressing the prompt? The Yale 250 it's like one of those things you love to hate, but you also still love it. Probably some of you are just like, no, I only hate it. But I think it's very much in line with the character and the feel of Yale. It is something that, I tell students all the time. You need to understand the school that you're applying to. You need to understand what their values are, what it is that they really hold and respect, where their priorities lie, and get to understand the culture of the school. And I feel like the Yale 250 is one of those things that is just so Yale, in a way that, we also do college admissions here, and UChicago has always the most interesting supplemental essays. But I tell my students, if the UChicago supplemental essays annoy you, if you don't want to write them, if you're like, I don't understand why this exists, you probably are not a good fit for UChicago. If the UChicago essays excite you and you're just swimming with possibilities, you're so excited to write about where X is and how to find it, if that's the kind of person you are and it makes you tick, then you probably are a good fit for UChicago. So stealing from what I tell my high school students, if the Yale 250 annoys you, if you don't understand why you need to write it, if you are dreading every moment of it, it might be an indication that Yale might not be a good fit for you. But if you are so excited about all of the different academic exercises you could go through and you have so many ideas, or even if you don't really know what you want to write about, but you're kind of excited about the possibility of figuring out what you want to write about, the Yale 250 might just be for you. So when we're talking about the Yale 250, I want to cover three things. I want to cover what the prompt is, ways to approach it, and things that you should avoid. And later when we talk about the Georgetown supplemental essays, it will be the same. Like I said, I will be announcing our Giving Tuesday winner today. We're going to do that at the end. So if you have any comments or questions, definitely also put that in the chat so I can see that we'll answer those at the end. But stay to the end so that if you're the lucky winner of 10 free hours of consulting, which is our Giving Tuesday prize, we can congratulate you and, you can do a little dance. We're not going to see your dance, but we'll be dancing along right with you. So let's first address what is that Yale 250 prompt. It reads as follows. The Yale 250 word essay is an opportunity to explore an idea or issue from your academic, extracurricular, or professional work that is of particular interest to you. The idea or issue you choose does not have to be law related. This is simply another opportunity for faculty readers to learn more about how you would engage in the law school community. That's a lot, right? They're basically saying, explore an idea or issue. It could be from any particular place in your life. It doesn't have to be law related. We just want to get to know you. It is purposefully vague and open-ended. I think that what really kind of confuses students when they first look at this essay is that it is so vague and open-ended. And it is also such a short essay. So it's both daunting in its topic, but then daunting in its kind of mandate to be concise and judicious with your words, to be selective in your vocabulary and in your linguistic choices. I am an English major. I love writing. This is why we also work on your essays, right? We love writing here. I love how powerful words can be. I love how beautiful they can be. But writing, I know, is not everyone's strong suit. And so when you think about ways to approach the Yale 250, you want to break it down into a few different areas. First, you want to think about brainstorming your topic. Now, students that work with me know that we do a very large brainstorming at the beginning of our time together. And I do that purposefully because I understand the number of supplemental essays and optional essays that are becoming prevalent in the law school admissions landscape. And I want us to be able to do a very large brainstorm. And then from that brainstorming matrix, we're able to choose stories from your personal statement to your diversity statement to your optional essays. So oftentimes my students at this stage, I will say, go back to your brainstorming, a template, go back to it and see what is left. What are the stories that you haven't used and what would be good for the Yale 250? Now, if you're not working with me and you may not have brainstormed like that and you're like, well, Cindy, I've already written my personal statement. I've already written my diversity statement. I haven't brainstormed anything else. What should I do? I do want you to think about what is that issue or topic that's of importance to you that is not necessarily covered in other parts of your application. I haven't said this in a while, but I know that you guys know what's coming. Your application is like a puzzle, right? And you have different pieces of the puzzle. And I always say, right, you want to be in a 1,000-piece puzzle and not a 50-piece puzzle. So you want to give me more puzzle pieces so that I can get to know you better. But the other thing around that is that you don't want to give me the same puzzle piece more than once. You don't want to give me 2 top right corner pieces. So if you've already talked about that passion, that reason for going to law school, maybe it's immigration law, maybe it's responsible AI. If you've talked about that ad nauseum, right, in your personal statement, you really don't want to talk about it again in 250 words for your Yale 250 because you're not teaching them anything, right? You're not giving them anything new. The really important thing to remember, too, is that Yale has faculty readers. Professors are reading your Yale 250 and your application as a whole. Professors love a good thought exercise. They love to be academically stimulated and challenged. They want to see your intellectual curiosity. So there is a lot that kind of goes into showing the professors, that I am a student that thinks deeply about issues, that thinks introspectively about my place in the world, that has nuanced thoughts on issues, and nuance and creativity are very important too in your Yale 250. So you want to pick an issue or a topic that, like I said, it's not something that you've beaten to death already in your other 2 essays, but it's still something that elicits really and kind of invites that intellectual curiosity, but also shows still part of you, and you're still showing them, this is why I really care about something, or these are some of the thoughts that I've had. It's another part of your personality, another part of your journey, another part of who you are, because even with a personal statement and a diversity statement, you can't fit into 3 pages double spaced, and that's always the issue or the concern that students have when writing their essays. I can't get my whole life into just these 2 pages, and that's the beauty of supplemental essays, right? Is that they allow you other ways to show different facets of your life to complete the picture and make for a well-rounded person. And so when you are, however, talking about this issue or this passion, right, this interest area that you have, as I briefly mentioned, you want to talk about it in a nuanced and creative way. And creative doesn't mean write a poem. Don't send them a poem. I'm sure someone has sent them a poem and gotten in, right? But I probably wouldn't advise you to try to dig up, like A rhyme structures and write a poem or a haiku to Yale. I just don't think that that's really going to go over very well for most students. But when I say creative, it means, if you're really interested in police brutality, let's just say, and you haven't already talked about it in your personal or diversity statement, sure, you could talk about police brutality, but, don't just state the obvious, right? Don't just tell me Black and brown bodies are disproportionately stopped by police and disproportionately, killed by police, and this is an issue that I want to go to law school to solve. You will have really missed the point of the Yale 250 if you just do that. It is your opportunity to write and discuss, to challenge an issue, to take a side on a debate, but still give nuance. You want to show that you enjoy an intellectual thought process. And again, some of you listening do not enjoy intellectual thought processes. This is my opportunity to tell you, Yale may not be a great fit. Yale's a very small school. It's a beautiful, beautiful school. It's a beautiful community of people. So many friends that have gone to Yale. It's just such a beautiful, amazing place. But it's a small, small community. And they are really big on intellectual thought exercises and the theoretical, right? That's why Yale produces some of the most professors, right, in the country. They produce probably close to the most Supreme Court clerks, right up there, with Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, of course. But Yale is really known for students that want to become academics or to go into academia, to become part of the academy. Like that's, of course, students from Yale go to big law and nonprofit and everywhere else that lawyers flock. But they're very good at producing students that want to contribute to legal scholarship. And so, again, I say, if you are completely uninterested, not necessarily if you're good at it, you can grow good at it, but, get better at it. But if you are completely uninterested in academic thought exercises and intellectual curiosity, this might not be a great fit for you. So as you're thinking about your topics, just, think, how can I best explain or best show a passion area of mine, or a topic that really makes my blood boil, or a topic that I'm so happy about. It doesn't have to be serious, right? It could be a very interesting deep dive on the history of knitting. I don't know. But it doesn't have to be world peace and systemic racism. It can be almost anything. But this is one of those things, and all of your essays are like this, but this is really one of those essays where it is how you write it that matters, because Yale cares deeply about students who are strong writers. So you want to show that your level of writing is very high. You want to elevated, prose and diction. That's why I said, you want to show that you are a strong writer. That is paramount in this exercise. This is not the time to rush through and give something sloppy because it's the last thing on your list. I will also say that for Yale, because of the way that they read, there are no real advantages to submitting early or submitting later in the cycle. So you have time to really create a beautiful piece of writing, and you should if you are going to actually apply to Yale seriously. Now, things to avoid in your Yale 250, I've touched on some of them earlier. Don't just give me something that's in your personal statement already. Don't give me something that's not nuanced. Don't give me something that's obvious and lazy thought reasoning, right? Sometimes we can make lazy arguments just in life. This is not one of those times to make a lazy argument. Again, this is not your personal statement, so this is not 250 words on why you want to go into immigration law. That's not what they're asking you. They specifically say it does not have to be law related. Now, it can be law related, but it does not have to be. This is not a diversity statement. This is not your chance to tell me about what it was like growing up in a single parent household, unless you are also talking about, like, you know, an issue or an idea related to that came out of that was birthed from that. But it's not simply just a personal expose, right? They really do want you talking about an issue or an idea. So you want to be careful about how you approach this differently from maybe some other supplemental essays that are solely narrative and personal in scope. This is a little bit more, as I've said repeatedly, a thought exercise. So let me know if that makes sense. Let me see if there are any questions about that. The next kind of supplemental essay before we get to our Giving Tuesday winner announcement is I want to talk to you a little bit about the Georgetown Law Supplements. I feel like everyone really struggles with choosing a Georgetown Law Supplement and then figuring out, okay, what do I write about? What do you even want to convey to Georgetown in your supplements? That's really the question. There are so many options for you, and I'm going to go through those options in a second. And there really is no right and wrong choice on which kind of prompts you choose or what you choose to convey, but you want to make sure that it fits neatly into your application. Again, with the puzzle analogy, it's not just that you're giving different pieces to the puzzle in your application, but the pieces of your puzzle should fit together. So your Georgetown Law Supplemental Essay should fit in together with the materials that you have otherwise in your applications. Just going to pull them up. All right, so we are going to cover what those Georgetown Law Supplemental prompts are, how to approach them, and what to avoid. We're also going to talk about the 1-minute video, which like very few people choose to do, and I get it and I understand why, but has the opportunity to be such a wonderful, fun exercise if you enjoy video editing and that kind of audiovisual creative side. So this is the prompt for the Georgetown Law Essays. The optional response is another way for the admissions committee to get to know you. If you wish, we encourage you to submit a 250-word statement for any of the following questions. 1. What is something important that you have changed your mind about? 2. What unpopular opinion do you have and why? 3. Tell us about a time in the last 5 years when you stood up for yourself. 4. Share a top 10 list with us. 5. Prepare a 1-minute video that says something about you. Upload it to an easily accessible website and provide us the URL. If you are using YouTube, we strongly suggest that you make your video unlisted so it will not appear in any of YouTube's public spaces. What you do or say is entirely up to you. Please note that we are unable to watch videos that come in any other form other than a URL link. Do not send them this whole file. That's a lot. Right? That's a lot. How do you even begin to think about, 1, what prompt to choose, and then what to brainstorm? So as I have said, I really do believe in the importance of doing a master brainstorm when you start the essay process before you choose what your personal statement and your diversity statement is. Because, you know, especially for a school like Georgetown, where the supplemental essay prompts are so personal in nature, if you have done this right, if you've done a very broad, very deep, very introspective brainstorm of all the significant moments in your life, both personal and professional, accomplishments and setbacks, impacts, moments that showcase who you are, moments of vulnerability, moments of pride. If you've really done a great brainstorm of that, and then you've chosen the stories for your personal statement and chosen the stories for your diversity statement, you actually should still have personal stories left that you love, but maybe just didn't really fit into your narrative thread for why you want to go to law school, or didn't really fit into, kind of what you wanted to talk about in a one-page diversity statement, you should still have personal stories left for your Georgetown Law Supplement. So you can go and just choose, okay, hey, these are the 3 topics that I still really liked. Maybe it was about figure skating, or maybe it was about horseback riding, or maybe it was, a time when you really helped out a family member, or maybe you wrote a book, or you launched that business. Whatever it is that maybe just didn't fit anywhere else, hey, now it's a time that I can go back, look at my stories that I have brainstormed, and choose which one would be great for, one of these prompts. And that's also an easy way to choose a prompt, by figuring out what are the stories that I have left. Do any of those stories fit any of these prompts? Super great matching exercise. If you haven't done that big brainstorm, if you've already written your personal statement, you've already written your diversity statement, and you're starting from scratch, then you want to start looking at the prompts first. And you want to say, okay, which of these prompts really speak to me? There really isn't a right or wrong answer, but you want to make sure that you are being introspective. Georgetown really does like essays that show who you are more. They're trying to get to know you on a deeper, more personal level. You want to make sure that you are honoring that, and, not just skipping and skimming the surface of kind of who you are. Now, deep and introspective and personal does not mean traumatic. I swear, when I say deep and introspective, people just hear traumatic. Deep and introspective can be beautiful. You have something beautiful inside of you as well, right? And so it can be this amazing moment when you really helped out a family member. I had the wonderful, just privilege of surprising my mom this week with a new computer. It was great. I brought her into Staples. She had no idea. She thought we were there to fix her computer. I had her bring it under some pretense. And the look on her face when I got to, have the Staple guy whip out the new computer was awesome. And I feel so honored and blessed to have been able to have that moment, right? That's a positive moment. That's a deeply introspective moment, right? Because I can talk about my values, and why generosity is at the core of who I am, and why family is so important to me, and connectiveness, and all the things that my mom has done for me. Really, how she has been such a staunch supporter of who I am. My dad was in the military, and he deployed a lot when I was a kid, and so a lot of times it was just my mom and I while my dad was deployed. And we really bonded in those moments. So much of who I am right now is because of her. And so to be able to give back to her in that way doesn't even scratch the surface, really, but it made me, really happy that I was able to do that, right? So I just shared this story with you guys as an example of how something that is introspective and personal doesn't necessarily have to be traumatic and negative. It can be really positive and happy and show who you are and your character. And maybe, that's something that could go in a supplement. Now, granted, it would not have fit in any of the prompts that Georgetown has right now unless I took a video. Right? If I had that whole thing recorded, I could have maybe sent it over to Georgetown with a little bit of an intro or a little bit of an outro, right? If I was applying to Georgetown and really thinking that ahead. And that would have been totally fine, right? When we talk about the video, which we will, it can be on any topic, any moment. It doesn't have to be, you just being a talking head, and I don't recommend it, but it can cover a large area of your life. It could really be a wide breadth of who you are, or it could just be a moment that really showcases who you are. Now, if you're looking at these prompts, and like I said, you're trying to figure out which one speaks to you the most, I would suggest writing down about 3 topics for each of these, and then really looking at, okay, are there certain topics that speak to me? A lot of students choose to do the top 10 list, which is totally fine. And some students just give a list, and some students give a little explanation and then the list. Some students explain each of those 10 in that list. It's about 25 words per 10. And sometimes they connect to each other. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're very broad. And sometimes they're very narrow, right? Top 10 songs from my favorite artist, or, top 10 moments in the last year that really pushed me, right? Either one of those are fantastic essays. This is, as I've said before in other videos, it's really about how you write it and not necessarily what you write. But there are some things that I have seen students falter on. I think especially with what unpopular opinion do you have and why, or even what is something important that you have changed your mind about. Those are two-part questions, and oftentimes I see students only answering one of them. So what is something that you have changed your mind about? It's not just what is an opinion that you have that developed over time, which is often what students give me. But it is asking, what have you changed your mind about? So we're looking for a moment of tension. We're looking for a moment of, I was thinking this way, and now I think that way. I used to hate cheese, and now I love cheese. True story. Probably not what I would write my essay about, but I don't know, maybe it was actually a really big part of my life. I just really, really didn't like cheese, and I just never, engaged. And then in senior year of college, I realized that there are a lot of wine and cheese nights, and that, also people just put cheese on things even when you ask for no cheese. And I went on a mission, and I started eating different cheeses intentionally to change my taste buds, because I learned that it takes 30 days to change your taste buds. And I was just on a mission to like cheese so that I could feel like a normal part of American society. And now I eat cheese, right? Okay, probably not the most compelling thing in the world, but hey, my mind changed. Or an unpopular opinion do you have and why is that Americans should eat less cheese, because actually a lot of the world is lactose intolerant, and it's just such a staple in our diets for no reason. That's probably super unpopular. Why do I have this? Because I was one of those Americans who suffered from people putting cheese on things that I didn't want them to. I'm being completely facetious here, but you have to understand that what I'm trying to get at is that you need both parts, right? Both of those questions are surrounding attention. They're surrounding a moment where they want to see conflict and resolution internally, right? They're trying to think about whether or not you're malleable, because when you think about law school, you will have unpopular opinions. When we talk about the Socratic method, we talk about the reasonable standardness of the law. When we talk about criminal law and we talk about fair procedures, not everyone's going to agree. But it is both important that you can stand your ground in your unpopular belief and be able to express it clearly, that you can be the sole dissenting judge in a panel of 9 judges. And the dissent can be written in such a beautiful way that the dissent becomes canonical in legal jurisprudence. And it's also important that you can be open-minded and that you can listen to the well-reasoned arguments of your classmates, and you can have your mind changed and opened. Those are both important things. There will be times that you need to stand your ground as a lawyer, and there will be times that you need to realize and recognize that while you may have previously held an opinion, new facts, new arguments, new perspectives have caused you to shift, because they don't want people to come into law school who are so headstrong in their ways that they will never listen and learn from their classmates. But they also don't want people to come in who have no core and who go with the wind and aren't able to stand their ground. So those are kind of the reasons behind those questions, why those are important things as a lawyer. In your answer, it doesn't have to be a super serious thing, right? It could be about cheese, but your answer should show your open-mindedness for that first question and your ability to stand your ground with reasons and careful consideration of the other side. It's not just I'm standing my ground because I'm right, but it could be I'm standing my ground and I see the other opinions and they're valid. But this is why, even after considering, appreciating, and acknowledging the validity of the dissenting opinions, I'm still going to keep my opinion. Kind of going off that same theme, tell us about a time in the last 5 years when you stood up for yourself. It doesn't have to be a big moment. It can be, right? But it can also be a moment where you worked on your own boundaries. I am a person who really struggles to say no. I think that kind of goes with my generous personality. I love saying yes. But I also just like it when people like me. I'm just going to be really honest with you. I have had to work on my people-pleasing tendencies over the years. And so for me, a time when I stood up for myself might not seem that important to you. It might be a time when I told someone from my church I wasn't going to do something. And maybe the first time I told someone from my church I wasn't going to do something, maybe that was a big moment for me. And someone else would have just been like, nah, I'm good. And that wouldn't have really been a moment that they stood up for themselves, but for me, that might have been a really big moment. So maybe you have a moment like that in your life. Or maybe you have a big moment, right? You had to stand up against being falsely accused, or to your parents, or to an abuser, right? Both of those can be incredibly beautiful and compelling essays. We've discussed the top 10 list. We've discussed how the top 10 list can be both broad and cover a large area of your life, or small and be just a moment. And when we kind of get to the video, I would say that video editing is kind of key here. Not that they're looking for you to be this excellent videographer. That's not what I'm saying. But it's only a minute. And I think if you were to just put the camera on and talk for a minute, it probably won't be the most compelling. But the best videos that I have seen include footage from somewhere else, or kind of a voiceover, right? So you're kind of showing through pictures and footage and talking over it, and then you're kind of getting to show more of your life, or you're showing a snippet from a performance, or any other kind of prepackaged video footage, and maybe you're not editing it, but you have your explanation at the beginning and the end, and then like a little bit of a video. It's only 1 minute, so you need to be thinking very clearly about what you want. I did a lot of video editing in middle school and high school. I was in a magnet communications program for that, and so we would always do something called storyboarding. And if you've never really done videography, this might be a foreign concept, but storyboarding is kind of like outlining, but for video, where you're taking, okay, what's the first scene? What's the second scene? What's the third scene? How is my video coming together? And that planning is really crucial for that video. So those are the Georgetown Law prompts, kind of how to approach them, things that you want to avoid within each of them. You want to make sure that you're being introspective. You do not want to just not showcase who you are. You do not just want to use it as another opportunity to talk about what you talked about in your personal statement or your diversity statement. But if done right, the Georgetown Supplemental Essays can be some of the most beautiful parts of your application. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me see if there's any questions, and then we are going to pick live. I'm gonna pick it live, the Giving Tuesday winner. So let me see if there are any questions. Okay, someone asked, for the video, should we follow one of the 4 of the prompts? No, you do not need to, and you probably shouldn't. The video is its own prompts, right? It's that it says, prepare a 1-minute video that says something about you, and what you do or say is entirely up to you. So perhaps you are, I'll make this up, I can't do this, but perhaps you're like a world-class juggler. In the 7th grade, we went to Canada with my French class, and we went to this cool circus workshop. And there were all kinds of really cool things. But I mean, these people were throwing, I don't even know. That would be so cool, right? If you're a world-class juggler and your 1-minute video is you juggling 10 plates and a bowling ball, that would be awesome, right? So there's some parts of your personality, to be honest, some parts of your life that can only really be shown in video. I could talk to you about juggling 10 plates, but way cooler. Or if you're a trapeze artist, you don't need to be in the circus to do this video. These are just kind of where my mind goes. But you can do really a wide range of things for the Georgetown video. Or like I said, a video, a voiceover of you talking over different parts of your life. Would you recommend hiring a videographer to help with the Georgetown video? No, I do not think you need to spend extra money making the Georgetown video. You want to choose the thing that is going to be the easiest and also, the thing that speaks most authentically. If you are thinking about doing a video, well, first, look at all the prompts, right? Do you think that any of the other prompts kind of fit what you want? If you're like, no, I really want to do this video, just get, if you have a Mac, it comes with iMovie. If you have a PC, I think I don't have a PC. I've had a Mac since I was 12. But some sort of Windows Movie Maker situation, I think. You can do something that's very basic editing. InShot is an app. I think Capwing is also pretty good and pretty free for video editing. There's a lot. Filmora is really good. So InShot, Filmora, Capwing, Movie Maker, iMovie. Those are all mostly free, or I think they have a free trial, and honestly, free trial is probably all you need. 14 days. Go in there, play with it a little bit. It does not have to be. They are not judging you on your video quality. They are not judging you on your video editing abilities. They are just, honestly, it's just content, right? Like, what is it that you're showing? But this does not need to be something that you go out and hire a videographer for. I don't want you doing that. And if you are like, but I don't have any video editing skills, the thought of downloading an app or doing a free, software trial just stresses me out. Like, I just don't, this is not what I want to do. Then don't make a video. Right? Because I think there's also something to be said for the fact that those who like video are showcasing that they like video in choosing the video one. But you are not in any way penalized for not doing a video. I've already had a few students this cycle get into Georgetown. None of them have done a video. In fact, most of my students don't do a video because it's just like a specific type of student that really wants to or has the time, the bandwidth, the energy to think about it. So you absolutely can get into Georgetown without doing the video. If it speaks to you, if it's calling you, like Moana, right? If it's calling you, then do the video. But if it's calling you, you probably are also excited about even exploring some of these free software apps. And if it's not calling you, then write a 250-word essay or do a top 10 list. There's a lot of different ways, right? But you want to make sure that your application, no matter what you do, is authentic to who you are. And that's what the most important thing is. And that's all that they're looking for, really. Any other questions? Okay. All right, let's see if I can do this well. Here we go. All right, so I think you guys can all see my screen. This is a free wheel of name generator. So this week, we announced our Giving Tuesday challenge. And we asked you if you would like and share our social media posts, our personal statement course. For those of you who don't know, we have a personal statement course that we heavily discounted for Cyber Weekend. We heavily discounted it to $198. It is a normal retail, a little bit more than that. I have a couple of different surprises and announcements for Giving Tuesday. One, I did announce actually that my company is creating a nonprofit. We are creating a nonprofit that is launching next quarter that will provide financial assistance to students for test prep, for application fees, for admissions counseling, for psycho-ed testing, for accommodations, and for therapy. Because I think that it's really important that students take care of their mental health as well as their academics on this journey. And we are pledging $1,000 to start for this nonprofit, but we will also be pledging a monthly amount continuously for the funding of this scholarship. So more details will be coming out next year, but I was really excited that we were able to do that for Giving Tuesday because accessibility and affordability is really important to me. And, while we try and do what we can, with the consulting company, having a nonprofit allows us to really expand our reach and to provide more financial resources directly to students. So I was very excited about that. The second announcement that no one knows is that after this live is done, we actually are going to reopen our Cyber Weekend 60% off for the personal statement course. It is normally $497. It was $198 over Cyber Weekend. Doors closed on Monday for today only, for the rest of today. As a thank you to those people that are watching the live and those that catch the replay today, we are going to open it up. And so I will send out an email today with the code that will expire at midnight Eastern. But if you missed out on the personal statement course and you want to get that personal statement course, you want to get your outline together, you want to get your drafts together, it will walk you through. There's over 30 videos, there are templates, there are downloadable guides, there are sample essays. It will get your whole life together. If you missed out on Cyber Weekend, today is your lucky day because you can get it for that same Cyber Weekend price just until midnight. So we'll be sending out the email with the code right after this live. Now, like I said, we have had students that have been liking and sharing our posts. They had to tag 5 friends in our Giving Tuesday challenge and then send us a screenshot of, of them sharing the personal statement course post. And so I am really excited that we are going to pick it live. I don't know who's going to win. Thank you to all of you who have shared. Thank you to all of you who have told somebody. We really, really do appreciate it. Without further ado, let's do this. I'm also going to make sure that I turn the volume. Yay! So at Rumbly, I will get your first name. Congratulations, you are the winner of 10 free hours of consulting. Hours do have to be used by March 2022, but I'm really excited to get to know you. I'm excited to help you on your journey. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your support. And you guys know that even if you do win Giving Tuesday, you guys know we do a giveaway, not always as big, but we do a giveaway every month in our Facebook group. So if you are not in our Facebook group, Barrier Breakers Law School Edition, get yourself in the Facebook group because 2022 is going to be awesome. And we want to make sure that we have lots of goodies for you and we support you on your journey. So, thank you. There's one more question on the Yale 250. What if it has a diversity undertone? That's fine if it has a diversity undertone, but remember, you just want to make sure that you're answering the prompt, that you're talking about an idea or an issue and kind of, going through that academic exercise. But it's okay if it has a diversity undertone. So you guys, it is almost 1 o'clock. I'm going to pray us out, and then we are going to keep going, with the rest of the application cycle. We're wrapping up our applications hopefully by the end of the year or in January. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. We've also put the links to our blog posts on the Yale 250 and the Georgetown Law Supplements below. We also have a ton of blogs on our website about different essays and different scholarships. So definitely make sure that you're checking that out. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to say thank you for keeping us through almost the entire year. Thank you for getting us through the holiday season. Thank you for your continued blessings. And thank you for all of those who have already hit submit, for those who have received acceptances and scholarships, for those who are already seeing the blessings rain down on them because of their continued guidance and obedience to you. I just want to thank you for all of the students who participated in our Giving Tuesday challenge. Thank you for allowing us to continue to lead with a spirit and a heart of generosity. You told us to be the hands and feet of Christ and to be on the ground. And so I just thank you for our ability to continue to provide resources for free to students as they go through this journey. I ask that you would help students with discernment as they are thinking through their supplemental essays, that you would be with them as they figure out what prompts to write, what topics to write about, that you would help them understand the importance of diving deep, and that diving deep and being introspective is not always tied to trauma or to negativity, but that you have given us a life that is full of hardships sometimes, but also full of blessings, full of beauty, full of overcoming, full of values and characters. So that I ask that you would just help us showcase those beautiful parts of ourselves that you have given us, that you would help us remember who we are, remember what motivates us, remember what we're trying to accomplish, and think through the best way to make all of the pieces of our application come together. I ask that you would give us passion, that you would give us intellectual curiosity, that you would give us um, a thought, an idea that we want to explore further, that you would help us find the nuance in issues, that you would help us find interesting takes. I ask that you would give us the fortitude and the confidence to have unpopular opinions. I ask that you would allow us to be an island, but know that we are never alone because you are with us. Even if you have called us to do something that no one else seems to understand, even if we have a passion or an opinion that no one else is really talking about, that doesn't make it any less valued. I also ask that you would give us a spirit of adaptability and open mindedness, that we would have a heart to have our opinions and our stances changed with new information and new perspectives, that you would allow law school to shape us into the lawyer that you would want us to be, that you would allow us to be reasoned in our judgment but compassionate in our delivery, that you would allow us to think about serving, whether it's through policy work or direct services, whether those are corporations or minoritized individuals, that you would help us lead from a place of heart, a place of soul, so that as we do your work, that we are continually sure of our path and the way that we should go. I ask that you would send support, whether that's a friend that has a camera, a friend that can do video editing, that you would give us a passion for creativity if we are doing a video, that you would give us joy in this process and laughter, that you would just infuse happiness into a moment that is so often wrought with stress. I thank you in advance for the blessings that you are going to continue to do this application cycle. I thank you for just your continued grace and mercy. I ask all of this in your son Jesus' name. Amen. So, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for just your dedication and your support. If you liked this video, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe, rate and review the podcast, share it with a friend, and be on the lookout for that special code that expires tonight, so you can recoup some of those Cyber Weekend deals you might have missed. I will talk to you guys very soon.